Welcome back to London's Pretty Cool with Patrick and Aaron. It is episode 50. I can't believe we made it 50 episodes featuring pretty cool people and businesses in London over the last couple years. If you have been enjoying the podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us out more than you think. In this episode, we are talking with Marty Thody of Boler Mountain. It is a really interesting episode as Marty has been part of the Boler Mountain team for a long time and was able to let us know all about the history of the mountain, how it has grown to more than just a ski hill, all the programs and events that they run each season, and so much more. Let's get into it. Welcome back to London's Pretty Cool podcast. We're very excited today. It's episode 50 coming at you, and we are here with Marty Thody, part of the management team at Boler Mountain. So Boler Mountain is an amazing spot here in the city that you can do all of these great fun outdoor activities from in the wintertime, skiing and snowboarding, tubing, all the way in the summer from mountain biking, TreeTop adventure, and so much more. And we're very excited to get into it today with Marty. Welcome to London's Pretty Cool podcast.
Well, thanks for having us, and thanks for thinking about Boler Mountain. We really appreciate it.
So let's start just right into the history. So I kind of did a little bit of research and saw that it started in 1946 with just a group of individuals gathered to enjoy a new sport, just hanging out. They learned how to ski. So could you tell us a little bit about the history of Boler Mountain and how it started?
Sure. I mean, there was a little bit of skiing before it was somewhat formalized, but in 1946, a group of individuals who had returned from serving overseas, as part of their tactics, they had learned how to alpine ski, and they decided that London needed a place to go outside and have fun and learn this European sport that they were able to bring home from the war. And they researched, they went out and looked at land around, and they secured the property here where Boler is located. They also went out and solicited some of the more influential people in London and borrowed $3,000. These were like 18-year-old, 20 to 21-year-old youth, and in today's dollars, it'd be a few $1,000,000 that they actually borrowed and secured and bought this land, and then they cleared some bush and put the first rope tow in. The rope tow was donated by one of the boys. His father owned London Automotive, I think it was, or it was a place downtown, and they had an old gunner truck with a PTO, and they took that the PTO in the back part of the truck part and set it up as a ski lift, a rope tow, and that was the start of Boler Mountain. Over the years, they sold season passes, and they managed to pay back the folks that they borrowed the money from. And in 1946, when they first started, they had their charters written, and they were a not-for-profit. The business had some tough times in the 50s, and they tried to hand it over to the city, and the city wasn't interested in having a ski area to operate. So they did what they had to do and got through the tough times and paid the bills. And when the 60s came, it was a big boom in the ski industry, and there was actually, from what I understand, there was a wait list to become a season pass holder here at the time. They did some big expansion. They put in some modernized lifts and some lighting, and in 1963 they put the first snowmaking system in. And then there was a bit of a decline, a bit of aging infrastructure in the late 70s and early 80s, and that's where I came in and started working here. And we've been improving the place ever since then. But for a little while in the early 2000s, we were a charitable organization, and we annulled that status probably about 6 years after having it. We went back to a not-for-profit, and we've remained as a not-for-profit community run and operated facility ever since, and it is a crown jewel here in the West End. Yeah,
I had no idea it was a not-for-profit. That's so interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting. So Boler owns the land, and nobody owns Boler.
Wow.
It's a tough concept. Yeah.
Wild. That's so interesting. We've, like I was saying before the podcast started, we grew up going to Boler, and spending many nights there. Trying to learn how to not to die, on these
Yeah.
on these hills. But they are at least when we were growing up in the like you're mentioning, the early 2000s, it wasn't they didn't have the secondary hill that they do have now and everything. It's not quite to the degree that it is, but I mean, it's a great place to learn and a great place to come. It's so interesting that you say it's a not-for-profit. That's so cool. And now,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's part of the unique attribute of this business. There's a lot of people, they come here and they see a lot of people, and they're like, oh, somebody's getting really rich, and nobody's getting really rich. The money's all going back into the facility, and we're honored to be able to run a lot of programs that probably many people aren't aware of. We are host to the largest Track 3 program in Ontario. We run some programs for disadvantaged people, and new people to Canada, new people that have never slid. They've never been on, snow or anything else. So it's just nice to get them out in the middle of winter, get them adjusted to the culture built around snow and sliding, and we're quite proud that we're able to run those programs, as well as the many programs that you guys were probably part of when you grew up here. And I mean, we have so many kids pass through our door, and a lot of times it's a first-time job for many kids too. We have about 400 staff on our payroll right now in the peak part of our season, and we'll go down to probably about 123 staff through the summer. So it's quite the place. When I first started here, it didn't have that many.
Speaking of we're in the winter right now, and everybody's getting the opportunity to start skiing again and snowboarding and stuff. Now Boler Mountain, it has 2 hills, right? There's 16 runs. There's a terrain park. Be ready when you go in there.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing a lot more people coming out and enjoying the hill, like either like due to COVID or like since what have you been noticing with everything going on?
Yeah, well, last year we were shut down, so and then we worked very hard with the government to allow us to open, and we were given the privilege to open in lockdown last year, and I think that spoke volumes for our industry, and we did prove that we were able to do it safely. As far as COVID goes, and then so we've been operating this year. December was a little challenging given the weather, but we were 50% of our terrain was open, and then in January we quickly got everything open. We have a great snowmaking system here. New people to the sport are there's so many right now coming in. And it's so good to see. We always, like Boulder's always done a very good job of introducing people to the sport. but there certainly is a whole new wave of people coming in to certainly try snowboarding. Snowboarding suffered a little setback. There wasn't a lot of people. There was a decline in the number of snowboarders, and right now we can't keep a snowboard on the shelf. So, and certainly, we're just getting into the Olympics, and there are very few sports that you can watch on the Olympics and then go out and 10 minutes later and be doing exactly what you see, or near to what you see on TV, and participate in it, especially like right here in the city, or you can watch someone go down and do the freestyle, or going down the hill in a race course, and you can be out here and doing your own turns in 10 minutes after watching that on the Olympics. So it always seems to drive a few people out. It gets people invigorated, and we're happy. Like it's so good to see people outside enjoying themselves. Like it's probably getting close to -15 out there tonight, and there's a good crowd out there, and people are having fun. Nobody's real cold, and we weren't allowed to bring people inside there for a few weeks here, and we had campfires going on outside, and people were just soaking it all in like a true Canadian winter. So happy to see people out here enjoying themselves. That's for sure.
It's funny how you were
That's so
saying
cool.
about like the Olympics and seeing it, because I've definitely been in the past watched like the ski slope style and seeing it being like, I've been skiing my whole life, I can totally go and do this, and then you try a little jump and you're like, nope, that is way harder than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just love it. They make it look so easy.
Yeah.
We have a small but mighty freestyle team here that competes provincially, and it's fantastic watching those kids develop from just being able to just barely get over a little jump to getting in there and doing their misties and all the other tricks that they have going on. But it just looks so fun, and it's great to see the kids really soaking it up that way.
We gotta ask. We also kind of grew up on Cobble Hills, which was another hill that was around here in London. Have you noticed since they've become just like solely a golf course? Have you noticed was an increase in people after that?
Certainly, at the time we will have seen some of their pass holders and guests come to Boler. It's really sad that they closed, because they certainly would have a reach into a market that they may never ski. There's some when something's a little bit closer to you, and you decide to do something on a whim and it's right there, they're gonna go do it. So it was sad to see Cobble go, and I actually worked at Cobble Hills for a season way back when, and it it really reached sort of that Woodstock, Dorchester market, like that whole area, and I'd really like to see that place fire back up. There used to be a ski area in Woodstock years ago too that I helped put a lift in a long time ago, and it just would be nice to see these places up and running. We're happy. More skiers, more ski areas like that. It was nice to see some of the Cobble Hill folks come over, but it was also bittersweet.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Has there been a slight decline in like skiing or in snowboarding in general? Is that why there's been some of these closures, you think, or?
It's a capital intensive business, and when I say that, like the ski lifts are a couple $1 million to install, and grooming machines $500,000, and if you go through a year like last year where you're unable to reinvest in the infrastructure, it can become perpetual. And that's when, you know, businesses struggle. And, you know, I think in I don't know what happened at Cobble Hills other than the new ownership of the golf course just didn't want to run it. It wasn't their thing. So I don't think it went broke because for financial reasons. I think it was just a business choice by by Gulf North at the time. So, yeah.
Well, let's get into a little more positive of a topic. You kind of mentioned earlier about like your snow school employee. You have lots of employees. We have a very close friend of ours, Megan Parsons, who's a
All right.
instructor there who absolutely loves Boler, raves about it so much. And so we just kind of want to do a little, if you want to do a little plug for snow school, like there's lessons for all ages. If people are interested now, they hear it and they're like, I want to try that. How can they come and get some lessons?
Yeah, well, shout out to the Parson family for sure. They back right onto the property, and we're about 10 steps from their back door to the ski lift, and very supportive family. And we're proud to have them as neighbors, that's for sure. And yeah, so snow school, lots of different opportunities there. I would say, you know, if you want to come out and learn the sport, take a lesson, whether it's private or in a group setting. One is more social, and I have several kids out doing lesson programs and group programs and private and semi-private, and they become excellent skiers very quickly. Our adult programs are very social, and you know, there's a ladies' afternoon group, and then we have a much like a higher end drop-in lesson program that is actually starting to pick up a bit more. Where, you know, there's a lot of you often hear people that come out here and go, "Hey, I don't usually ski here. I ski at Whistler," or something like that. And I understand. I totally understand, but in order to ski Whistler, you better have some legs on before you get there, and otherwise you're going to burn days, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that people are coming out, getting some legs on, and taking that higher end lesson, so when they get out there, they're more prepared, and when they get into that mountain. And that's, you know, that's our job here. We realize that we are here to get skiers prepped or create new skiers, and we're what's called a breeder market. And if they only make it up to Blue Mountain in their lifetime, that's a success, and that's a beautiful spot to go. And but if they end up go out at Revelstoke or you know, Whitewater or one of these, you know, stunning mountains, you know, you got to go see Canada. It's a beautiful spot. It's a beautiful place to ski, right?
So it's nice to hear that you guys are kind of embracing the joke of the Boler bump, that it's like, yeah, we're just kind of the starter mountain for everyone else.
Oh yeah, perfectly okay with that. You know, I still love riding it, and I'll put my skis on and ski here anytime. And there's nothing to be ashamed of skiing at Boler Mountain. I'll never forget. We had a salesman for snowmaking equipment, and a new guy into the industry, and I'm friends with a lot of people that run different ski areas through Ontario, and there was a void in this market for a while, and the salesman called me up, and I said, well, you know, you probably don't want to come down here. We're kind of way out of the way, but make sure you get up there and speak to these guys. And our conversation went on for quite some time, and then he hangs up, and then he calls me back like 5 minutes later, and he's like, you're never going to believe this, Marty. I was in a gondola at Stowe Mountain while I was talking to you. As soon as I hung up the phone, the people beside me said, were you talking to Marty from Boler? And he goes, those skiers were from Boler.
No way.
So that was funny. Yeah. That's what we
Small
do. We
world.
create skiers.
And a nice tight-knit community as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Speaking of the London Ski Club Racing, could you tell us a little bit about the program?
Sure. London Ski Club Racing it runs at arm's length to Boler Mountain now. At one time it was all part, but when we were charitable, we had to carve off any competitive entities. So we created another not-for-profit, and so London Ski Club Racing is run at Boler Mountain by another group of directors of volunteers, and it's a very strong program. It has been around for a number of years prior to carving off. In fact, it started. There's some pictures up on the wall. I wish I could show you. Upstairs, we have some very old pictures of them racing here, and from what I can tell, it was probably in the 50s, and they had these crazy fun races that they would do. So it's it's part of the culture, and we're hosting a big race for U12s tomorrow. We're going to have almost 80 athletes here, and so we're excited to host that. We've had some pretty high-end racers come out of London over the years. Some certainly a number that have made it to the Ontario team, and a couple that were we had two that were right on the edge when the Crazy Canucks were a thing, and they just they just weren't going to make the team because these guys they were as good as them. They just couldn't have that many people on it. So but they had quite a successful race career. And then we had Dave Duncan, who was an incredible racer, had a full scholarship to the University in Alaska, and went on to be an Olympian, two-time or 1.5 time, he says, Olympian in the skier cross. So pretty good. It's a pretty successful program.
And you would also
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Right.
You had mentioned at the beginning that your Track 3 program being one of the biggest. Is it in Ontario or in Southwestern Ontario that you were saying?
Certainly Ontario, I would say that we usually have the largest number. The last 2 years have been a struggle with those folks. They are running the program this year. They weren't sure if they were going to, and it certainly is wonderful to see that they are. They're running that with reduced numbers, which is really sad because we like to see those kids out, as much as any other kid, enjoying themselves. And but at least they're running the program, and we're getting some of those people through our door. It's a program that's also will run with any schools that come out midweek, and if there's anybody with special needs in those classes, we'll accommodate them, and proud to do it. It's so Track 3 is a system that's been around since the 90s. Boler Mountain has run this type of program on its own for as long as I can remember, and I think it started in the 60s. So they would they'd actually get some funding from the Legion, the Byron Legion, and they would borrow the Memorial Boys and Girls school bus and go and pick up the students. Or when I first started in the 80s, this lady would go and pick them up in her car, and I'd open up we weren't open the same hours that we are now, but I'd open the lift up and we get these kids through, and then she'd drive them home. Oh yeah, it's the best thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those listeners who maybe don't know, Track 3 helps provide downhill ski and snowboarding programs for children and adults with physical, developmental, visual, and hearing challenges. And I have to say, me and my dad were part of track three. We're instructors. I think it was right
Yeah.
before COVID, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. We had the best time ever. So if anyone's thinking about volunteering, it's great. It's a lot of fun and definitely worthwhile.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And other fun events. There's just so much going on at Boler. It's hard to keep it all up. I don't know how much has been going on with COVID, but I know in the past there's been lots of fun events, such as like you have special additions to the terrain park, sometimes also slush puddle jump days where you do all these things. Do you think
Yeah.
anything like that's coming back soon that people should be prepared for?
Well, we'd certainly like to. We have Family Day coming up, and we are going to do some fireworks for Family Day, and it's been a bit of a debate back and forth. But we're just going to ask the people do the right thing when they show up, and hopefully enjoy those fireworks on Family Day, and spread out and stay with your group type of thing, and enjoy what we're going to make go boom boom. But we like I said, we're having that race tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're still a little bit tight on allowing spectators in to watch it. We were hoping to have the senior games this year, senior winter games, but that was canceled again for the second year in a row. We definitely hope to run some slope style and a year-end race. Like we've done that forever, and we definitely have plans to do that again. And if we're able to, I'm sure we will run the slush cup because it's just so much fun. Yeah, I will never do it. I hate cold water, and I just don't know how the people do it, but it is fun. They dress up and they go down and try and ski or skim across about a 60 to 80 foot miniature pond that we build with a tarp, and yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we're in a position where we can do that this year. If not, for sure, it will come back again. It will come back by next year. But in the shoulder season, we do run some mud races, and we're happy to say that we've secured in Foam Fest for another season, and we were the first stop ever for this place, or for the 365 Sport folks to run the race, and we're honored that they've chosen us as a venue again this year, and we look forward. It's just such a fun race. They go through the mud pits and then the foam bouncy castle and all that stuff, and so we're looking forward to hosting that event in July. Yeah,
that sounds like so much fun. Holy moly. I'm just saying, all of these people sound like they should be in that new Jackass movie or something.
yeah.
Like that. They're just they are wild animals. They are crazy people.
Yeah.
But the some of the other events you have here, you've got this. We've done this too for years. You have a great tubing hill as well that was added. It was removed and improved since first opening, which is really cool. For those who are not skiers but maybe like to try out the tubing section, what should they expect?
Well, it's about a 90-foot drop, 100-foot drop. You get going pretty quick down there, and we have 4 lanes, and then the counter slope slow down with some coconut matting to decelerate you into a somewhat of a controlled stop. So we put it in because we just, again, wanted people to get outside and enjoy the outside. Winter, you can get cabin fever even here in London. The days are short. It's tough to get outside, especially if you hate cold. If you hate the cold and you hate the snow, and we can change your mind. You get out here, and we can show you some fun things to do, and really have you embrace winter. So tubing was, we just thought, maybe there's some people that would come skiing, but they have friends that are reluctant to ski, so they could go tubing. And the reality is it's become its own little entity. So people come just only to tube, and they make a good night of it. And normally we have like a fire going over there, and most years we would have some marshmallows and stuff going on over there, but not for the last couple of years. But we have a nice little fire pit, and yeah, it's a fun little spot to be. We're planning on maybe moving that tubing back to the south side in the next few years, but stay tuned on that one.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I've continued to see so many of like on TikTok, at least when I'm scrolling through, I'll see little things being like, you got to check this out. And it's the Boler tubing area. And it's like, oh, wow. People are coming from all around to check out the tubing at Boler.
Yeah. We get guests here. In the winter, we get a lot of guests from Windsor, Sarnia, Simcoe, few from Kitchener and Woodstock, and we're actually seeing a few out of the Toronto area also now. So that's it's great to see.
Spreading the word across the land. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, well, it's great staff, right? I always say, Boler doesn't have a personality, but the people that work here give it its personality, and they sure do a good job of it. That's for sure. Make us look good.
Well, I know that it's a very cold night tonight, so let's pretend we're going into the summer now. Boler has amazing, great things happening in the summer, which probably I don't know if a lot of people in London know about because they know it mostly as the ski hill. So I know one of the main things is mountain biking. There's 32 trails going on at Boler, and it was also home to the 2001 Canada Summer Games mountain biking event. So tell us a little bit about the mountain biking that goes on there.
Yeah, so mountain biking, we were one of the first places in Ontario to host. We took our cross-country running trails, because cross-country running seemed to disappear there for a while, and turned them into this fat tire bike community thing that started back in, like, I think 88 was the first time we hosted a race. And then we would host a race every year. That's all we would do. And then in the early 90s, we're like, well, we should just do this every day. And so we started our mountain bike operation, and probably about 5 or 6 years ago, we had Alpine Bike Parks from Whistler come in and revitalize the trails, and just get them a little more flowy to what was going on, keep them current. And they created a really nice product for them. We're actually hoping to get them back and add another 2 or 3 kilometers of trail this summer, and maybe some other fun things. But we're just waiting to see how we bounce out of this season and whether we could spend some money that way or not. But mountain biking, certainly, it's made a good comeback. It was quiet there for a few years, and again, I think with COVID, people rediscovered, how much fun it is to be on a bike, and even the kids, like, it's a lot of work being on a mountain bike. I'm not gonna lie. Boler Mountain, it's a lot of work too, because you do have quite a climb to get up through and into the trails, but it's well worth it. Yeah, I've been on the trails a fair bit myself over the last couple of years, and there's still so much fun. So we have some great bikes to rent if you don't have your own. Yeah, come on out and see what it's like to ride on a trail.
Sounds intense. Yeah, I was, while you were talking about it, I was picturing the last few times that I've been on a bike ride and how I've been like go without me almost, like I you talking about like training the legs, and having them like having good legs ready to go. I guess that applies to both the summer and the winter here for this, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do any other sports, like mountain biking is a great cross training for burst energy, and it just it burns my lungs doing it. But if you're any type of hockey player or volleyball player or anything like that, where you need quick burst energy, mountain biking is a great crossover, like a really good thing to do in the summer to keep you active and keep those twitch muscles and stuff like that going. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, otherwise in the summertime, you also have some treetop adventures.
We have a tree challenge course that we put in 12 or 13, and very proud of it. It gently fit itself up in the trees. It's massive, and this is one that's very challenging to describe to people what it is. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to be up in the challenge course or not, but it starts out with sort of the games are the games in the trees are a little bit bigger, and they have their challenges, and you get through that one, and then the games get smaller and more challenging as you get from course to course. And then there are zip lines, and you're always rewarded. If there's a very challenging game, the next game will be a zip line or something, just to give you a nice little reward for what you've accomplished. But again, it's a core muscle workout, and the Carolinian forest that we have here at Boler Mountain is stunning. And so it gets you up and off the forest floor and gets you walking tree to tree. And it's about a 2 to 3 hour tour once you're up there. And it's been very popular since we put it in. And I just don't know how to explain it, but I know 90% of the people that come out of those trees, I was not expecting that. That was worth every penny. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have in the city again. And before COVID, we were attracting people from way far away to that would come in, and some people that were visiting from Europe. They have these tree challenge courses in Europe way before they came to North America, and so people would come and try out Boler Mountain. But we also saw a number of people from the Detroit and Ohio area would do a day trip down here and go through the course, and then maybe hit one of our microbreweries or something like that. But yeah, it's a great attraction, and again, proud to have it. And if you've not tried it, or if you tried it a few years ago, we've done some upgrades, changed some games out, and freshened it up. So come on out and try it again.
There's also this adventure park ticket. There's a junior course ticket and a family course. What are the difference between tickets?
Well, the junior course is for the little folk that there's a safety line, and so in our full course, the safety line is at an adult reach. So you have to reach to 5'11" to go on into those 3 courses. The family course, we found that if a child wasn't big enough to go through the full course, an adult was a little reluctant to just let them go on they wanted to share the experience with them. And so we put the family course in, so it's a course that you could share the experience with them. But it's a detune. It's a gorgeous course, but it's built for both kids and adult. The full course, which is a little bit more money, and people tend to want to spend a little less, and we're like, you really want the experience of the big course, you don't want the family course. But certainly the family course, for doing it to experience something with your child, it will be a challenge for both the parent and the child. But and then the kid only our junior course has a little bit lower safety line, and it's actually one of my favorite courses. I get to go in there because I sometimes have to inspect the course. So but it like the kids are rewarded with a great course, that's for sure.
I was going to say, and finally, there's You have beach volleyball courts that came in as
Yeah.
well. And then there's so much more that goes on in the summer. You have yoga on the mountain, you have hiking, biking trails, and then also summer camps and everything. Can you tell us just about like a little bit more of those activities that you can do in the summer?
Sure. So our venture camps are, we have pretty limited capacity in there. I think we do 40 kids a week, and so it's very popular. It's mostly mountain biking, but it gives you a day in the challenge course, a day at the pool, and entry into our Thursday night race series for mountain biking. And the kids love it, and it just really tires them out and burns a lot of energy. So the parents really love that. But very popular summer camp, and that will be going online in February. And if you have heard about it and you're interested in, I would suggest keeping your eye open for that one. And we're happy to have your kid out here enjoying some stuff in the summer. Our yoga and fitness programs that we run are just, so we have just over like 120 acres, maybe a bit more than that, of land here in the summer that's just waiting to be programmed up. So we have a yoga pretty much every night of the week now at the top of the original hill. Such a beautiful spot, and we'll run that. If we have negative weather, we'll come on inside and do it. But it's really about experiencing yoga in an outdoor environment at the top of the hill, looking out over the city, and it's spectacular. And you can get your zen on up there, and it's fun. I've been to a few of the yoga classes up there, and we do a boot camp. It's a little more intimate. It's not had a lot of uptake yet, but like I said, we have a huge property, and we try and move that program around the property. And for those that are participating in it, it's spectacular. You go at your own pace. We have a great instructor, and we're pretty proud to be offering that one up too. And then our volleyball leagues. So we have we run Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights with our own 6-person volleyball team leagues, and very popular. Started out as a little more local community coming in one night a week, and we could fill the team schedule with that. And now it's 3 nights a week, and we rent the courts out to a couple other organizations at other times, and corporately rented out or privately rented out at other times. If people want to come and use courts, we take very good care of them and make sure they're all harrowed up, and we have a pretty professional setup. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a nice setup. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. Certainly Wednesday, Thursday nights, and Saturdays and Sundays here in the summer are, as busy as what the winters were when I first started. So it speaks volumes. Yeah, it's good to see people again be outside, enjoying the outdoors, and doing great fitness activities in the outdoors.
Speaking of everybody enjoying the outdoors, but there does need to be a place to relax and have a warm hot chocolate in between. Sometimes that was my favorite part about going skiing, was sometimes just like the break in the middle. Like, let's go in, let's have a snack, let's have some hot chocolate. You guys updated your chalet, which is really cool, and it has like this whole new outdoor patio. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I mean, like, we don't really have much of a question there. It's just like such a really cool, update and addition. We wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, well, we're proud of it. We worked with, local architect and an architect from within the ski industry, and we came up with an award-winning building. it really is a crown jewel onto the property from what we came from. I know you folks probably remember the little building, and it's still part of what's up there. It's been upgraded and renovated, and it, we have a wall up there that honors the people that started Boler Mountain with some pictures and stuff. But spectacular building. Like could you have a better building to eat poutine in? I don't think so. So, and we also are able to. We've done some great corporate events here, which we would have been unable to facilitate that with what we had prior to this. And yeah, certainly those camp kids enjoy like a beautiful building, but like you said, part of the skiing experience is getting inside, sitting down, having a hot chocolate, maybe convincing someone to put some whipped cream on top of that hot chocolate for you, and if you're really good, get a poutine to share with your hot chocolate. But that is part of the skiing experience for sure, and it's important to have those creature comforts, and this building, we're very proud that we were able to finally get that in. We're not for profit, so it wasn't like we had pools of money sitting around able to do that, but we knew that we needed more hill space, and we knew we needed a new building, and what comes first, it's kind of the cart and horse situation. So we said, our first thing is skiing and the sport, so let's develop the West Hill, and I'm so very proud that we were able to do that whole thing with in-house staff. We built that whole hill. I mean, we had dirt come in from different projects around the city, but the ultimate, the installation of the lift, the snowmaking, the lighting, all that stuff was done with personnel in-house. We're so very lucky to have great talent like that on staff. Yeah, and then a few years later, be able to deliver this beautiful building and have a respectable place for folks to sit down and have their favorite drink and some good food, and we do have some good food. We have the standard ski fare, but certainly for those corporate events or wedding events, the food that comes out of that kitchen is just spectacular.
Yeah.
So Marty, when does your statue get put in? When does
This isn't about me. I'm just honored that I've been able to work here and be part of it. Like, honestly, there's so many great people that have made this place go round and round. I've worked for Greg, and I have worked for, actually without Greg, it probably would have been much longer. That guy is so stingy on the wallet, and he's the other part of the management team, and he kept the financial picture of this right in line, and I certainly came up with endless ways of spending that money, and together I think we've delivered a great product. But we also had a board of directors over the years that that believed in us and allowed us to steer the ship to where we are today. And without all those pieces of the puzzle happening, we'd probably still be parking cars in the field, So, but it's stunning where this has come. I started here in 1984, and I can't even begin to describe to you what the state of the business was like. And now people, come here and they know no different. And it's humbling. But yeah, like you said, Megan Parsons works here,
Yeah.
but worked here as a kid, and we've had so many great people, but there are so many talented people that Greg and I are surrounded by that work here now that it just blows my mind. I'm just honored to they make us look good, and without a doubt, this place is much better having all of them around. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say it's a testament to your management style as well, for her to be working there in high school and then still now being a teacher, and she's still working there nights and weekends. She loves it and can only say the best things about Boler. And usually when you work at a place for a while, you might not have the best things to say when you leave or after a long time. And she's still the biggest fan, the biggest cheerleader of Boler.
She's actually here tonight. She's here
Yeah.
right now. We've got what's called the ski bee program for the wee little guys just learning, and she's helping run that tonight. So it's good to see.
So just with everything that we've heard, obviously Boler is, like you say on your website, the #1 outdoor adventure area in London. But is there anything else before we get into, we have London questions for you as we are the London's Pretty Cool podcast. Is there anything else that you think our listeners should know about Boler, like if following on social media, where you're located if they don't know yet, like your hours, anything like that?
Yeah, we're located out in the west end of the city, in right in off Griffith Street in Byron. And if you've never been here, come on, drop by. It's your community, outdoor adventure. London's most dynamic destination, or Southwestern Ontario's most dynamic destination for adventure. But even if you don't feel that you want to participate in anything we have to offer, come on out and just see the facility that is part of this great city, right? And we're just honored to be one of the things that makes London special. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're going to get into our London-based questions.
Okay.
This is going to be based right on you, Marty. So you've been here a long time, so this will be great. Well, I'm very interested in your answers for this. So, what is your favorite place to eat in the city?
Favorite place to eat in the city? There's a number of places that I like. I do like, is it Adi, the Ethiopian restaurant? Kind of like that one right now. My kids both love it, so if they like doing something with me, it makes me happy. So we kind of been going there a little bit when we go out. There's so many good places to eat, like in London, and like tiny places to chain restaurants. But certainly there's some. That's why it'd be so good to get these festivals back, because they all sort of come out, and you're like, man, I gotta go eat at that place, at that restaurant. But we are lucky. We have a lot of. We're doing a lot better with all these little international fusion places, and don't get me started on food. I love food. And we when we opened up the kitchen here, we were lucky to get our chefs that we've had work for us have certainly had a reach into that culinary community. So you end up borrowing people from here and there. So but there's so many good places. Yeah, I'm bad with names right now, but can't forget about Joe Cool's either. I mean, there's a London establishment that's been around forever, and we're lucky to have that place.
Agreed.
Well, speaking about London establishments, especially with COVID going on, we like to focus on our small businesses here in London. Is there a London small business that you think that you couldn't live without?
That's a good question. There's a lot of there's a lot of those little family-run places. Tucky Hardware is one of them. We're lucky to have a place like that that's so intimate when you go into. And certainly I live outside of the city, but I work in London, so I'm used to like small, intimate businesses like that. But Tucky Home Hardware is very nice to have, and I miss Novak's. That was such a great place. We were talking about that the other day, and the great gear that they would have, and the books upstairs. Like, do miss that place. But there's, yeah, when you get going through this city, there's all kinds of little mom and pop shops and even repair shops. Nothing's clicking in mind right now, but we tend to keep as local as possible. Like when we're doing the repair work on different equipment here, we make sure that we use these local expertise shops that are around, and there are a number of them. We're very fortunate. We have some good places that way, good technical places.
Now, this next one may be a little skewed or biased, but do you like London best in the winter or in the summer?
That's a good question. I mean, I do like the trees and the green and the our trail system. But certainly I'm in the right spot to enjoy London in the winter. You can't get a better spot. Like my office outside is the best office there is in winter. So, but there's London's good to be around in all. I mean, I like the fall in London too. It's probably one of the prettiest cities to enjoy. And certainly if you are out here mountain biking or in TreeTop and you get to the top of our West Hill and you look out, for those 2 or 3 weeks of, the leaf turning time, it's spectacular. Like the colors that you see over London, and yeah, it's pretty nice. I think every season's good in London, right?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this one might be a little hard for the London question. If you were to have the perfect day in London, what would it entail?
Well, I think probably go for a little ski in the morning and maybe find one of our great golf courses to golf at in the afternoon.
Nice.
Sometimes we're very fortunate with that, and in late March and early April. Certainly we were last year. We were open. We got shut down again April there, but we were open. It was 28 degrees and we were skiing, and there were a number of golf courses that got open there last year and that last week. But that would be a good day for me. I mean, the other, we have the Thames River too that I think is underplayed a lot. I like to kayak, and I've been down that river, and we're lucky to have that. And I think people need to we need to get around that resource a bit more and share that experience. It's we're lucky to have that. It goes right through our city. You can sit on a kayak and paddle on through and get to the other, go from one side of the city to the other, and it's stunning. Some of the views that you see from that river are stunning.
I agree. I completely agree. I wanted to get into fishing like a year or so ago, just because you walk by that river and you go, I want to be around it more.
Yeah. I think we overlook it too much.
For sure.
All right. Well, it's now time for our final game of the. As if we were playing games before. This is, this is our final segment of the show. It's going to be a game. It's our classic game. It's called This.
Oh, that.
So this is a this or that lightning round questionnaire. So we are just going to give you options, one or two options, I should say, and you're going to choose one, and we're just going to go quickly from one to the next until we're done. Sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, Erin, start her off.
All right, starting off with Western Fair Market or Covent Garden Market.
Western Fair.
Sunfest or Home County?
Ooh, I've worked at both. I used to work for a production company. I'm gonna have to stay right in the middle on that one. I love them both.
Masonville Mall or White Oaks Mall?
Ooh, probably Masonville.
That's where we grew up.
Yeah.
Springbank Park or Gibbons Park?
Springbank.
Fanshawe College or Western University?
Wow, I think the landscape of Western has me. It's just the campus is so beautiful.
It is.
But the resources, we're lucky to have both those schools. They're an asset to London, and the community that they bring in. We're very lucky. Yeah.
Odyssey Records or Grooves Records?
Grooves.
Grooves for sure. Grooves is wicked.
Yeah.
Brown and Dixon bookstore or City Lights bookstore?
City Lights. Yeah.
Bike the Thames Valley Parkway or hike in one of our environmentally significant trails?
Probably hike in the environmentally significant trails. Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have them.
Absolutely agree.
London Brewing Co-op or Anderson Craft Ales?
Oh, they got to stay in the middle on this one too. I love both of them, and we were fortunate enough to work with Anderson on our anniversary beer. So
very cool.
But they're both again very lucky. Like London is so lucky to have all these micro breweries, and it's another great attraction to the city.
Could say
So
we're
many cool
pretty
things
cool.
Yeah.
For those who don't drink alcohol, fire roasted coffee or black walnut coffee?
Well, again, we're a fire roasted purchaser here at Boler, so they've been kind enough to make us a Boler blend. So we do like fire roasted.
Very
Check
cool.
that one out. And the final one, Highland Theater or Mustang Drive-In?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Two different experiences, but I do like the Highlands. Yeah.
Nice.
I think more Londoners just need to check out both in general. But
yeah, I agree. Two totally different experiences, but well worth adventuring out to both of them. Yeah.
Well, Marty, that's the This or That experience, as well as the end of the London's Pretty Cool podcast. Thank you so much again for taking the time with us today. We really, really do appreciate you. We know it's Friday night. This is like the busiest night on the hill. So thank you again for taking the time out with us this evening. It means a lot because we, as we mentioned, have been attending Boler since we were young. So this is really fun.
Hey, thanks for thinking of us, and thanks for having us on this program. It's wonderful that you guys are doing this, and I'm honored to be on here. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Marty Thody. I'm part of the management team here at Boler Mountain, and you're listening to London's Pretty Cool podcast.
What's up? This is Zara, Asha, and King from the ISO project, and you're listening on the London's Pretty Cool podcast.